Welcome back to Verdant Ride.
In this update to my original Why I Ride Staggered Stance episode, I'm going to walk you through why I've been experimenting with a midline stance, both feet shoulder width apart, centered on the board, and what I've discovered by riding that way over the last few months. I still believe a staggered stance with your front foot in the forward heel side corner and your back foot pushed toward the toe side edge so your toe just grazes the rail is safer and offers superior control. But Justin Chait, the reigning eFoil World Cup champion, rides midline almost exclusively, and I wanted to understand why. Over the next 12 minutes, I'll share the upside, the downside, and who should or shouldn't even attempt midline. Let's dive in.
Staggered stance versus midline.
Last year, I laid out 3 key reasons to favor staggered stance. First, and probably most important, it allows for safer bailout options. With your front foot pressed into that forward heel corner and your back foot hanging with your toe edging the rail behind you, you always have a guaranteed direction to jump off, forward or backward, so your body clears the foil. That saves you from a taco fold over the mast and stabbing yourself with your wing. 2. Maximal control and force application. Offsetting your feet lets you drive your front knee forward and your back knee backward independently, so you can dial in just the right rail angle or tilt torque in a hard carving turn. And 3, it's more stable in messy water. Having that fore-aft weight distribution keeps you from pitching out when a swell or wake hits. You instantly redirect weight front or back to stay balanced. So why did I dare give midline a try? Well, I blame Justin Chait, the guy who essentially invented high-performance midline carving on eFoils. Last year, we debated the pros and cons of various stances, and he talked me into giving midline a try. There is no denying that Justin has mad eFoil skills, and it is impressive to watch him making nearly invisible hip shifts and carving effortless S-turns. He looks like a painter gliding across a canvas. I borrowed that technique and tried it myself.
Benefits of riding with a midline stance.
Immediately, I noticed 3 things. 1, effortless carving. Without digging my knee or powering my back foot, I could lean my shoulders slightly and watch the board carve as if on rails. In midline, the board slices through an arc with far less physical wrestling, just a smooth, lean, and subtle ankle pressure. 2, less joint strain. After 30 minutes of straight carving, my knees and ankles felt far better than they ever did in a staggered workout. When your center of mass is aligned over the foil, you rely on ankle and hop flexion instead of knee torque, and it felt like a lower impact ballet. And 3, super sweet successive S-turns. I hopped from one carve to the next, feeling a continuous rhythm, rail to rail, rather than forcefully negotiating the board into each new angle. My transitions were almost spring-loaded, and it feels addictive. Let's break down those midline advantages a bit more. 1, effortless carving. In a staggered stance, you have to drive your back knee backward and front knee forward to dig a rail and get any carve, especially in deep banking turns. Midline, I just lean my hips and shoulders, let ankle roll do the rest, and poof, carve. You can see here how gentle the rail engagement is. I'm not muscling it, just flowing. 2, reduced joint strain. The first time I held midline for 30 minutes straight, my knees sent me a thank you text. No more wincing under a hard back foot knee bend. My ankles and hips do the micro adjustments instead. If you have old knee injuries, midline can feel like a balm, provided you can maintain perfect balance. 3rd succession of S-turns. Watch how I carve left to right, right to left in a single motion. Once I find that sweet foil angle, I push off my toes just enough, ease my weight onto my heels, and the board flips back into the opposite carve. With staggered, each carve felt like a wrestling match. Midline lets you link them like a dance. That flow feeling is exactly why Justin says midline is his go-to. He can film 3 minutes of consecutive S-turns without looking winded, but as you'll see, that benefit comes with trade-offs.
Beware the dire consequences of the midline stance.
Don't get me wrong, midline is not a magic panacea. There are 3 major downsides you must understand. 1, expect reduced fine-tune control. With staggered, front heel in the corner, back toe side grazing the rail, if I need just a smidge more edge, I can drive my back knee backward or press my front foot heel forward. With midline, I only have toe to heel adjustments. That means if I catch a swirl of algae or hit turbulence, I can't slam my rear knee to correct. I only have ankle roll. That's slower and weaker. In one clip, you'll see me hit a patch of floating weed mid-carve. My staggered instinct to knee drive failed because my feet were flat center. I nearly pitched forward. 2, it has a much higher risk of taco fold falls. If a board flips midline, you have 2 foot widths between you and your wing. Your only option is to leap straight off, hoping you clear the prop. In contrast, a staggered rider can spring off in whichever direction keeps the foil and board away from them. Watch this clip. I'm midline, foil catches unexpectedly, and I literally have to just jump as far as I can. If I'd been offset, I could have angled a foot to direct the fall away from the foil. 3, it's unsuitable for race mode precision. In downwind or course racing, you need instant corrections, rapid pump-ups, tight rail-driven pivots. Midline simply doesn't offer enough leverage to punch in that micro-adjustment. Justin can do it, but he's been practicing midline for years. For most of us, if you need sharp race corrections or want to pump through chop at full tilt, you want that staggered leverage underfoot. 4, it's very easy to become unbalanced. If you look at this footage, you can see that some of my turns become unbalanced, even though I just spent 30 minutes pulling off perfect carves with a midline stance. The simple fact that I'm now holding a camera on an invisible selfie stick is enough to throw me off my center of balance. So if 200 grams of extra weight is enough to throw me off my game, then the same can be said for shifting winds, minor waves, and strong currents. Due to these factors, I'll likely deploy a midline stance for those days and times when conditions allow me to take greater risks without risking too much. In short, midline has a thin margin for error. You only get toe-heel corrections. If you slip big. That's why, unless you've mastered drills to bail from midline safely, I wouldn't recommend trying it, especially in open water or chop. So who should experiment with midline and who should steer clear? Good midline candidates are seasoned riders, 50 plus hours under your belt, who have perfected their staggered bail and knee torque corrections. If you know exactly how to bail from your front heel corner or back toe side edge, midline can be your next balance challenge. Riders with excellent foil feel, like Justin, who can sense a 1-degree tilt change and correct instantly with ankle and hip shifts. Who should avoid midline? Beginners with less than 50 hours. You need your eFoil skill foundation to become as natural as breathing before you venture midline. So newbies should stick to the advice I gave you in the staggered stance episode. Those with ankle issues, midline shifts the load to hips and ankles. If your knees are shot like mine, you'll love shifting work elsewhere. But if your ankles lack flexibility, you'll struggle, especially on toe side turns. Race mode riders and downwinders. When you need instant punch-through corrections, midline's leverage is just too weak. With staggered, you can shift a ton of force into either side of the board. When midline, you are limited to whatever your toes and heel can provide. Keep in mind, I am saying this while fully admitting that Justin is the reigning worldwide eFoil race champion. And that's probably thanks largely to his mastery of the midline stance.
And in conclusion,
after a few weeks of midline, I won't lie. The smooth carve feeling is addictive. It's like skiing, perfect corduroy, but I still prefer staggered in nearly every scenario because I race occasionally and I need that front heel corner and back toe side edge leverage to slam into a turn. I trust staggered more when things get unpredictable. If a rogue wake hits, my knee torque instinct always rescues me. I've drilled that staggered safe bail into my muscle memory over hundreds of hours. That said, midline taught me to engage my core and ankles more, something I should have developed sooner. So here's my bottom line. If you're already an expert staggered stance rider, front heel in the corner, back toe grazing the rear rail, who wants to sharpen your balance and level up your flow, give midline a try. Only after mastering the drills I covered and understanding the risks. If you're a newbie, stick with staggered. Build that staggered foundation until it's as natural as breathing before venturing midline. Just let me know in the comments. Have you tried midline? Did it feel smoother or did you nearly taco fold? Share your tips or horror stories and I'll feature them in the next video. Hit like if this helped, subscribe for more eFoil insights and ring the bell so you never miss a ride. Until then, keep chasing that flow. I'll see you on the water.
hello, I'm professional actor, Ralf Eisnant. This is being recorded at Studio Kickeralm in Fuking, Austria. Welcome back to Verdant Ride. 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 What is this? eFoil. Is it a kind of cyberbird? eFoil? A surfboard in the air? Really? What does this look like?
Well, it's right here. You have the manual?
Wow. This is quite amazing, yeah?
Yeah, sure. What marvelous articulation.
Yes, I can do many voices. Do you want to hear my Saruman? Yes, from the Lord of the Rings.
All right, let's try another one. This time you do it. Okay, here you go.
Welcome back to Verdant Ride. Staggered stance versus midline. Benefits of riding with a midline stance. Additional voice credits provided by Saruman, the all-seeing eye.